All right, so you guys want to make an amazing loaf of white bread? Are you tired of Wonder Bread? This is an easy recipe. It is incredible. It squeezes, it is resilient. The flavor is incredible. I will show you today how to make the best loaf of white bread at home. So this is the flour I like using. It's Bob's Red Mill Artisan Bread Flour, unbleached. I never use bleached flour. Some of the recipes I've seen have bleached flour to make the bread like perfectly white. I don't want those extra chemicals in my bread. Bob's is perfect. It has the best flavor, has great protein content, and it's made here locally in Portland. So this is why I choose Bob's. It's a nice high protein flour for bread. So the first step, and actually the secret part of this recipe, is making the Tangzhong. I think it's pronounced, I'm not sure. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our 200 grams of water, and you know, when I'm baking, I like to do everything by weight. It's always so much more precise. I like to put that in a non-stick pan, and yes, I will be using a metal whisk. This is a flat whisk that I have. It's going to make things easier for this video as I am filming one-handed. But usually, you know, I like to use silicone on non-stick, but I'm sacrificing for you guys. So I have 40 grams of bread flour here. And before I turn the heat on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to whisk it all together and kind of make just a little slurry here. And it's, you know, it's kind of like making a roux. It's a very wet roux. And I'm sorry, it's a very heavily floured roux. And what we're going to do with the heat is we're going to create a bunch of gluten. The starch molecules in the flour are going to break open and create gel. And it's going to cook this portion of the flour. It's going to cook this portion of the recipe. And this makes a nice gel. And what that does is it gives the bread a lot of spongy texture. And you'll see when you make this, you'll be really surprised at how wonderful this bread turns out. It's going to be very fluffy, very resilient. This will probably be the best sandwich bread you've ever had. And it's a perfect replacement for Wonder Bread. You know, you can make some really great grilled cheese sandwiches with it. You know, just the classic peanut butter and jelly we send the kids off to school with. The texture is incredible. And the flavor is very deep and complex, actually, because as you'll see later, we're going to add butter and an egg to this dough. So it's a very enriched dough. I stumbled upon this recipe a couple weeks ago, wanted to try it. The results were perfect. So I'm never going back. I'm never going to make another white bread recipe for sandwiches because this is as good as it gets. Seriously. So I'm just going to stir here. The heat is on high right now. I want to get this really kind of heated up quick. And you'll see it's going to start thickening pretty quickly here. And what I'm looking for is a gel-like consistency. Probably, you know, like if you were to take a tube of toothpaste and squirt it in here. It's probably that consistency. So I don't want to burn it or get it brown. So now look, I can start to see it thicken just a little bit. I'm going to turn the heat down just a scotch. I'm going to go down to medium heat now. I don't want it sticking to the pan. I don't want it burning, because if you get just one little hint of burnt in here, it'll throw off the whole flavor. You're going to have to start all over again. So now look, it's looking kind of like condensed milk texture, right? It's getting thicker and thicker. I'm going to pull it. There we go. It's heating on that side too much. Sorry for the one-handed video, guys. I'm just starting out here. If our channel ever becomes successful, you know, of course, I'll get some more equipment and I'll show you guys some more neat stuff. You know, our channel here is actually kind of fractured into many different subjects because we do a lot of stuff with the boys. We go shooting, we go camping, we go fishing, we do all sorts of fun stuff, and also I love cooking, and we like cooking at home a lot for the kids. We find it to be more rewarding. So anyway, like the channel, why don't you? Do us a favor, whenever I see that like, you know, whenever somebody likes the channel, we're still in the infancy of our YouTube-ness. I get an email. I haven't turned off that notification, and it really makes my day. So as soon as you actually subscribe to the channel, I get an email, and then it puts a big smile on my face. So now look at this. Look at this. It's like thick pudding. It's starting to bubble a little bit. And now I'm going to turn it all the way low. And I'm just going to try to get it a little more gelled up. All right? And it's almost done. It's almost done. I'm not sorry again for the one-handed Oh, and the dog bark. See, this is real life, guys. I'm in a real house with a real family and a dog. That's okay. We're almost done here. Probably another 30 seconds. And I'm going to take this out with a nonstick spatula, put it in some Tupperware, and let it cool down completely in the fridge. So this is about where I want to be. Okay, while that's cooling in the fridge, I actually put mine in the freezer. I'm in a kind of a time crunch here. It's good to prep your ingredients. So I got a half a stick of unsalted butter, room temperature, 575 grams of the bread flour, let's see, 260 grams of whole milk, egg, 1 egg inside. I will whisk that. We've got 60 grams of sugar, 12 grams of kosher salt, and 10 grams of yeast. So you got the softened unsalted butter. That we will add once everything else has been incorporated, and let it reincorporate again into the mixer. So I like to use a KitchenAid stand mixer with the dough hook. That does the best job. And then what I'm going to do after it fully incorporates is I'm going to dust the countertop. I'm going to knead it a few times and put it into a nice ball and let it proof. All right, we've got the mixer all set up, and of course we had everything mise en place. So let's get this going here. Whoops. Spilled a little bit. Let me just do that. Boy, oh boy. I'm just doing awesome tonight, guys. You can clown on me all you want in the comments. Go ahead, I welcome it. There's the flour, sugar, the salt, and the yeast. Okay, so we're gonna just incorporate that like so. I just washed my hands, don't worry. And now we're gonna pour in the milk with the beaten egg. And don't worry, I'll put the recipe in the description, so you won't have to keep rewinding and take notes. So there's the milk and the egg mixture. And we're just going to get it going here. I'm going to start it out on low. Yeah, you know, this isn't that difficult of a recipe to try out. So if you're into bread baking, definitely give this a try. The first time I tried it, I was 100% successful. So you'll love it. I promise you, I guarantee. While that's mixing here, I'm going to turn up just a little bit. I don't want to make a mess. So now we're mixing, and here's the roux thing we made earlier, and look how it's set up. I'm going to add that. Now, and look how it comes out. We'll get this all incorporated. And it was, this was actually room temperature, if not a little chillier. I put it in the freezer to speed it up. I've seen some recipes, they say, oh yeah, you know, you should chill it for 6 hours and then let it come up to room temperature. And you know what? That probably could get maybe 1 or 2% extra better results. I'm gonna stop it here. Put this up here. I'm gonna scrape this a little bit down here. You know, that's our traditional way. I am a father of 3 kids. Right now, I am solo parenting, and I don't have time to do all that. I just got home from work, and Pia said, please make bread tonight. And I thought, okay, well, I might as well make a video too. So that's going to incorporate. I'm going to turn the speed up a little bit, and then once it forms a solid ball, I'm going to start adding the butter. Okay, the dough has come together. I'm going to start adding this butter here. I had to pop it in the microwave for 7 seconds. And it will take just a little bit for it to incorporate. Be patient. Here, getting nice and sticky. Now this dough is going to be kind of soft, but I'm going to turn it out onto the work surface with some flour. I'm going to knead it and fold it for a little bit, and it'll be fine. So that'll be the next step you see. And usually I put it in a bigger bowl, but this time I'm only making a single batch. You can double this batch. We always double it because we always need 2 loaves of bread in this house. 1 loaf goes away in 1 day. I'm just doing a single loaf for the purpose of this video, but I'm just going to use this bowl to proof it in. I'm going to wash it out, save on some dishes. Okay, so we're ready to transfer. For continuity's sake, I'm just going to use the bowl that I had the flour in. It's going to be easier because I'm going to be scraping the dough ball out of the mixer. So I'm just going to flour the workbench here, aka kitchen counter. God, look at great product placement for Bob's. They don't even sponsor me. It's okay. It's a product I truly believe in, so. Alright. And look, this dough is it's really nice and sticky. I'm going to have to use a silicone spatula to get it out. It's a nice rich dough. It's got milk, egg and butter. I mean, as Ina Garten would always say, how bad could that be? Sorry, horrible impression. All right, I'm just gonna dust the top. And really, I just want to get a few kneads in, a few folds. Work the dough just a little bit more. It's always good to give the dough a few folds. It builds up some good gluten. I'm not going to do much. Wow, it's very sticky. So that's all I'm going to do. Get some oil in this bowl here. I'm going to lightly oil the bowl. And the great thing about oiling a bowl in preparation for a dough ball is you don't even need to get your hands dirty. So now look, I'm going to take this, I'm going to try to get a nice tight skin on the outside. And that's the dough ball. And so I'm just going to take the dough ball and use it as the brush for the bowl. So there it is. I'm going to put some saran wrap over it, and I'm going to let it rise for an hour, and we'll come back. Okay, the dough is more than doubled in size. It's been about an hour and a half. I've had to put some kids to bed. So here's the dough. It looks really good. I'm going to dust the surface again. Nice mess to clean up. It smells really great. So here I have a very well oiled bread pan. So we're going to form a loaf and we're going to put it in the pan, and then we'll cover it again and let that rise probably 45 minutes or so. This is very well proof. It's nicely proofed. So I'm just going to kind of flatten it out here. Ah, it looks good. The dough feels great. It's supple. It smells good. So what I do, I mean, I don't know if this is the best way. Try to keep it the loaf pan size, but this is what I do. And this is what works out well for me. I'll just roll it up. I'll fold the seam, seal it, kind of squinch it up a little bit. It's not gonna, you know, guys, this is homemade. It's gonna taste incredible. The texture is gonna be incredible. It's not gonna look like it came from a 4-star bakery. It actually might. You never know. So here it is in the loaf pan. Kind of looks funky. I'm gonna try to make it look as beautiful as I can. So, you know, there's some wrinkles and folds. I'm gonna flatten it out. I want it uniform. And yeah, it's an artisanal bread. It's gonna look rustic, and it's gonna taste great. So here we go. I'm gonna cover it up with the plastic wrap, and I'm gonna preheat my oven now to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. In about 45 minutes, I'll do an egg yolk and cream wash on it, and I'll pop it in the oven, and it will bake for 30 to 40 minutes. Oven temperatures vary. They are not precise scientific instruments. So when my oven says it's 350, it could be 340, it could be 360. Your oven likewise. So after about 25 minutes, I'm going to check it. Once it's really risen high and it's dark mahogany brown and you tap it and it's kind of hollow, that's when you know it's done. Well, we are just about there. The bread dough has proofed its secondary proof in the loaf pan. If you notice, it's right up to the top. It's starting to touch the saran wrap. I know one might be tempted to let it rise even further, but if you do that, if you overproof it, you will actually have a hollow cavity in the middle of your bread, and your whole loaf will be ruined. So here I have one egg yolk and just a little bit of cream. It's a very rich egg wash. So I'm gonna beat that. Take this brush here. I'm gonna brush the top of the loaf. Now look, you see there's creases and stuff on the bread. Had I not been worried about doing bedtime with the kids and I had more time, I would have really rolled the bread dough out, kind of like I did before the primary proof session, and got a really tight skin. But that's just for beauty. This will taste just as good. It won't look like something from a French bakery, but it'll look pretty damn good actually. So I'm not too worried about it. So this is all washed. The oven has been preheating for probably about a half hour. It's nice, 350 degrees. And there we go. So let's do this here. We're gonna put it in, and I'm gonna check it after 25 minutes, but it might take up to 40 minutes. So we'll see. Here we go. See you when it's done. Oh yeah, look at that big beautiful loaf that came out of the oven. It's on the cooling rack now. Puffed up nice. It's the size of a store-bought loaf. It rose really well. It will be incredible, but please try to resist your temptation. Wait at least an hour for it to cool. Otherwise, if you were to cut into it now, it'd get all mushy. So wait, and your wait will be rewarded. I'll probably let this cool for 3-4 hours before we cut into it, but it'll definitely be the best sandwich loaf you've ever tasted. Give it a try. Try this recipe out. And thanks for watching the video, guys. Take care.